Welcome to Oweleketv News. Thanks for joining us. I am Hadiza Galadima, and now the news headlines. Businessman killed by a police officer over 100 naira. I'm being pressured to vacate Nigeria, Peter Obi expressed. Suspected herdsman attack bus, kills passengers, kidnap 8 others in Delta. Osun government offers free train ride to Osun indigenes for Easter celebration. Welcome back from the break and thanks for staying with us. Now, the news in full. There was high tension in Asaba, Delta State capital, following the alleged killing of a middle-aged businessman by a police officer, which occurred after the deceased reportedly declined to offer the police officer a 100 naira bribe at a checkpoint. The killing led to the serious rally in the state capital as residents condemned the cruel act of the police officer. The deceased, who was identified as Ibi Onyeka Emmanuel, was shot around Ubulu area within Asaba metropolis. The late Emmanuel, who is in his early 20s, was said to be a phone vendor at the popular Ubonologu market, Asaba. Enraged by the event, the youth from the market who took the corpse from the Federal Medical Center, FMC Asaba, marched the streets to the police headquarters demanding justice. On verifying the killings, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Ari Mohammed Ali, stated that after receiving a distress call at the State Security Council meeting when the incident happened, and because of the seriousness of the incident, the meeting was hurriedly closed. A mammoth crowd of young boys and girls opposing the death of the innocent civilian overwhelmed the area. Mr. Ali Ari Mohammed articulated that the force hierarchy will not support this kind of nasty situation, and accordingly, the inspector has been arrested alongside other members of the team. He assured members of the public that justice will be done and served, having their own internal discipline mechanism, to put on record that he will be tried summarily and dismissed and will also be prosecuted and to face justice. The suspect, Inspector Obi Ebri, attached to the area command Asaba, expressed that on embarking on township patrol on Ila Road, where a stop and search takes place, is where the deceased refused to stop for a search and was struggling, and there was a struggle between the officer and the deceased, where he was holding the nozzle of the officer's rifle on his belt, entering the trigger, and it fired. He claimed that it was not intentional and denied requesting money, but some Nigerians have a different feeling about the situation. Our correspondent has the report.
As based with my own understanding, that's selfishness, because you can't just waste a life just a single 100 naira. Even though they're giving the 100 naira, what would that 100 naira buy? Presently, now the situation of the country now, you can't use 100 naira and buy anything. You can't even buy. In fact, to enter a taxi from one place to another, you can't take you. So how can you waste a life? Something that God has created just for 100 naira. It's not. I think for me, that police need to be questioned on that.
I think looking at that incident, I will justify it from two directions. One, it was not intentional. Two, I also see it intentional. When I come to the side of not being intentional, I will just say that it was not his intention to actually pull a trigger to kill the man for 100 naira. But the intentionality there is that he did it because he has, will I call it, it has become a registered psychological problem for police to always want to look for another source of livelihood outside their salary. But if that should be corrected, the mistake possibly is not coming from the policeman. I will call it that the mistake is coming from the system generally. So if policemen, as it may be, or people in the force, can be actually properly trained, pay the right remuneration, go for training, psychological transformation and all that. Most of the incidents we're seeing with police and the civilians, I think, would drastically stop. So I'll put it that we can also justify it in two ways, not intentional, but intentional the other way around.
I am Salma reporting for Oweleketv News.
The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, expressed himself by responding to the viral audio recording allegedly to be his telephone conversation with the founder and general overseer of Living Faith Church, Bishop David Oyedepo, in which he requested for the support of the popular Christian cleric and suggesting that the 2023 presidential election was a religious war. He voiced that since the aftermath of the result of the 2023 presidential election and the attendant litigation to question the result at the tribunal by his political party, there have been shots to tarnish his image and as well compel him out of the country. He defined the audio clip in circulation as fake and the handiwork of the ruling APC-led government and its officials as part of strategy to distract him and the Labour Party from pursuing their case in court. Obi, who took to his verified Twitter handle on Wednesday night to respond to the allegations against him, said he never campaigned based on any religion or ethnicity, but except for competence, character, and credibility. Obi took third position in the February 25th presidential election, while Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, became second. The Labour Party presidential candidate remarked that the elections were over and he was in court to recover his stolen mandate through all lawful and peaceful alternatives in line with the nation's legal system and constitution. Hence, he appreciates and called on all Nigerians to remain peaceful and law-abiding. Those fixated on heating up the polity, creating divisions, tensions, and hatred within and outside Nigeria should remember that Nigeria is our only country. He added that the focus should be on how to address the litany of challenges facing the country, such as flawed electoral processes, the parlous state of economy, unsustainable debt burden, lamentable unemployment, inflation, insecurity, and multidimensional poverty. He urges all concerned Nigerians and the international community to entreat the APC and the APC-led government to stop their hostile attacks. His focus and commitment are to lawfully and peacefully retrieve his mandate to secure and unite the nation, take Nigeria from consumption to production, pull millions of Nigerians out of multidimensional poverty, especially in the north, and jumpstart prosperity through agricultural, industrial, and technological revolution remain unchanged. He continued to employ all Nigerians to remain peaceful and law-abiding, adding that a new Nigeria is indeed possible. Now over to Delta State, where hooligans suspected to be herdsmen have attacked a Toyota Sienna bus, killing one passenger and abducting 8 others between Idemili and Iliogo community, Udoka West local government area, Delta State. It was gathered that the vehicles were conveying the passengers from Onitsha, Anambra State, when it was ambushed and attacked at about 5 p.m. by the hoodlums. Sources say the deceased passenger was shot and died on the spot, while others were whisked into the bush by their abductors. Confirming the incident, Police Public Relations Officer of the State Command, Mr. Bright Edafe, stated that the attack was carried out by hoodlums suspected to be kidnappers. Edafe, however, could not verify the number of persons that were kidnapped, saying the command was serious on the matter, adding that they heard the driver and one passenger exited the scene. We'll now be going on a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The Osun State Senator Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke has authorized free train rides for Osun indigenes in Lagos and other southwest states willing to celebrate the Easter festival with their families in Osun State. In a release autographed by the spokesman of the governor, Malam Olawale Rashid, said the Imole free train service will depart the Idu terminus in Lagos on Thursday, April 6, 2023 by 10 a.m. with stopovers at designated train stations in Ogun and Oyo State to pick up passengers, and it is anticipated to arrive at the Nelson Mandela Park train station at Osogbo by 6 p.m. The return trip from Osogbo to Lagos will be on Monday, 10th April by 10 a.m. The release remarked that the Imole free train service is designed to provide comfort to citizens of the state transiting home to celebrate with their loved ones, adding that the administration of Governor Adeleke will not capitulate in offering free train services for indigenes during festive period. The release therefore enjoined citizens to benefit from the opportunity to visit the state and celebrate with their families and loved ones. Now over to the National Bureau of Statistics, as the fourth quarter of 2022 stated that the country's unemployment rate stood at 33.3%. The Statistics Office, in its latest inflation rate in February, proclaimed that the nation's inflation rate rose to 21.91%. KPMG projects that unemployment is predicted to continue to be a major challenge in 2023 due to the inflexible investment by private sectors, low industrialization, slower than required economic growth, and consequently the inability of the economy to fascinate the 5 million new entrants into the Nigerian job market every year. Global consulting firm KPMG has projected that Nigeria's unemployment rate will rise further to 40.6% in 2023. In a report titled Global Economic Outlook, the establishment also said the inflation rate is presaged to maintain above 20% in 2023 due to structural and policy issues. Although weakened, the National Bureau of Statistics registered an increase in the national unemployment rate for 23.1% in 2018 to 33.3% in 2020. It estimated that the rate has increased to 37.7% in 2022 and will further rise to 40.6% in 2023. The report stated that KPMG documented high rates of inflation was driven by persistent structural issues which affected domestic food production and transportation. The issues include insecurity, floods in key agricultural producing areas, rising international food and energy pricing following the Russia-Ukraine dispute, as well as other policy-related blockage which continues to influence the cost of doing business. Furthermore, the expected fuel subsidy removal and the 2023 fiscal bill are also predicted to keep pressure on domestic prices in 2023. KPMG signifies a deeply rooted problematic environment illustrated by weak and slow economic growth and challenges in the foreign exchange market for the new government by May. It also said the inadequate government revenue to support much needed expenditure leading to the high debt stock and high debt service payments may pose another challenge. The, the firm attributed the growth in 2022 to the non-oil sector as continuous recovery in household consumption boosted spending, particularly in finance and insurance services, telecommunications, transportation, and storage services. While the non-oil sector grew by 4.84%, the oil sector contracted by 19.22%, largely attributed to the deteriorating oil theft, pipeline vandalization, underinvestment, and other operational challenges inhabiting oil production. He expects Nigeria's GDP to continue to grow at a relative slow pace of 3% in 2023 due to the downshift in economic activity that typically depicts periods of political transition in Nigeria. While the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced while reporting to State House correspondents on outcome of the Federal Executive Council Conference in Abuja, which was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, that money would be used to attend to a segment of post-petroleum subsidy palliative necessity in the country. According to her, the $800 million in the first tranche of palliatives is to be disbursed through cash transfers to about 50 million Nigerians who belong to the most vulnerable category of the society. She counted that while working on the 2023 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and the Appropriation Act, provisions were made to enable the exit fuel subsidy by June 2023. Having different stakeholders' engagement and also securing some funding from the World Bank. That is the first tranche of palliatives that will enable giving cash transfers to the most vulnerables in our society have now been registered in the National Social Record. She added that the record has a list of 10 million households, equals to about 15 million Nigerians. Mrs. Ahmed said the government was willing to go beyond cash transfer to soften the effects the subsidy removal will have on Nigerians, raising more resources to enable them to do more than just cash transfers and also in engagement with the various stakeholders. Still planning and working on some to start executing quickly, with some being more medium-term implementation on how funding was received from the World Bank for the execution of the planned exits. Mrs. Ahmed said $800 million for the upscale of the National Social Investment Program at the bank is secured and ready for the disbursements. We will be going on a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Staying with us. The state gubernatorial standard bearer of the APC in Abia was suspended alongside an Abia factional chairman of the APC, Mr. Kingsley Ononubu, over the misappropriation of some funds. The recess of the party chieftain is retained in a press report, autographed and issued to newsmen in Umuahia by the state publicity secretary of the party, Ofo Okori. The party leadership implied that MNK and Ononubu plotted with the outgoing government of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Abia to hinder the efforts of devoted party members in producing the state to the Progressive Party during the just concluded general elections. The Abia APC reported the undemocratic and unhealthy attitude exhibited by the duo led to the party's inadequate outgoing and woeful failure at the just concluded polls held in the state. Recognized that Alex Oti, an ex-bank chief and the governorship flag bearer of the Labour Party in Abia State, emerged as the new governor-elect of the state and victor of the concluded March 18, 2023 gubernatorial election. He pulled a total of 175,467 votes cast to beat his closest rival of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Uke Ehiwe, who scored 88,529 votes to come second in the elections. Meanwhile, the Abia State candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Kelechi Emenike, has faltered the just concluded governorship and House of Assembly elections in Abia. He contended that the just concluded electoral process by the National Electoral Commission (INEC) was defiled by mutilation and falsification of election results and harassment of party agents and eligible voters at various polling centers and units during the polls. And now over to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who has appealed to the British court that convicted the former Nigerian Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice for organ harvesting to temper justice with mercy. Mr. Ekweremadu and his wife were last year apprehended in the United Kingdom for allegedly trafficking a young Nigerian man into the country with the purpose of harvesting his kidney. After a 6-week trial at the Old Bailey in London, the couple, alongside a medical doctor, Obinna Obeta, were found guilty of the charges against them. The jury found the defendants guilty of taking the 21-year-old Lagos Street trader to London to manipulate him for his kidney. Their conviction was the first under the Modern Slavery Act. The judge, Jeremy Johnson, reserved the sentence for a later date. However, Obasanjo has written to the clerk of the court urging him and the UK government to show leniency to the Ekweremadus for the sake of their sick daughter, who was the intended beneficiary of the organ for the kidney transplant. Obasanjo agreed that the transgression for which the defendants were convicted is distasteful and condemnable and can't be tolerated in any rational or civilized society, but urged for a soft landing for Ekweremadu and his wife. Still on the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo articulated that the incoming administration will examine all avenues to ending the ethnic division that originated from the 2023 general elections. Obasanjo expressed this while speaking at a conference themed From Election to Governance and Performance, organized by Next Year and the Ibadan School of Governance and Public Policy in Abuja. The former president mentioned that with the challenges facing the country, he is now too old to keep quiet, stating that he would persist to voice concerns for the benefit of the nation. He cited that the incoming government must work to facilitate national moral reamendment and reconciliation following the divisiveness occasioned by the just concluded general elections. According to Obasanjo, the move has the possibility to bring about healing and satisfy Nigerian youth who are angered by the shortcomings of the election. He said governance in Nigeria now needs thinking outside the box to rescue the nation in terms of its plunging economy and huge national debt burden, adding that there must also be the political will and action as well as administrative effort to rehabilitate the public service and in turn into a capacity-ready unit. And that's all the news on Oweleketv News today. Do follow our social media handles displayed on your screen for inquiries and advertisements. I am Hadiza Galadima. Thanks for staying with us. Do stay safe and see you next time.